If there's one thing that this year has taught us, it's that having a powerful on-the-go computer is a must. I mean, a lot of us were thrown into suddenly having to do more from home or learn from home, work from home, whatever. And then a lot of people found themselves not having an adequate setup to try and really meet the challenges that this year's shown us. And if you don't believe me that people are out there just buying up laptops and work from home setups, desks were out of stock, laptops were out of stock, webcams were out of stock, headphones, microphones, you name it, out of stock because suddenly everyone was having to create home offices and on-the-go type stuff. What makes it really simple though, is when you have quite honestly a laptop that is just as powerful as a desktop, giving you ultra portability and a lot of power. So that's why when Lenovo reached out and asked if I was interested in checking out the new Legion 7i powered by Windows 10, I was a little reluctant at first. I've done a lot of laptop reviews on this channel, and it's gotten to the point to where so many people get so close to being what I feel is the perfect laptop, I didn't want to be let down again. I reluctantly said, yes, I'll let you sponsor this video, but I've got to be true into how I feel about it. And they were like, that's absolutely fine. I've been using this now for the last several weeks. And I'm going to tell you, this one right here, the Legion 7i. Let's start off real quick with what Legion is. If you guys are familiar with the brand Lenovo, if you work in business, and let's face it, every businessman on the planet has a laptop, right? Because most business people travel. I myself spent 10 years in that life. I worked in IT, we did product rollout, we did office rollouts all over the country for the corporation that I worked for, hundreds of units, and I can tell you right now, as somebody who spent a lot of time on the road, I carried 2 computers. My own personal gaming laptop, because the work one just wasn't cutting it. Every gaming computer makes a great business computer because it's overpowered for that. But business computers very rarely make good gaming computers. So that's why I was really intrigued by this unit because yes, Lenovo Legion is a gaming arm of Lenovo. However, it kind of really is a hybrid in the sense that it doesn't look like your average gaming laptop. Yes, I've got RGB sort of going right here, but it just has this super clean aesthetic. It's got this really gorgeous gunmetal color. I just love gunmetal because it's not as like bold as black, but it's not as bright and flashy as the gaming laptops you're used to seeing with blinking crap everywhere. Yes, I know there's RGB going. We'll talk about that in a second. You just stop typing that comment right now, sir. Steven, not Gamers Nexus Steven, but stop typing that comment right now, okay? I'm eyeing you. Anyway, it's the kind of computer in terms of aesthetics that you can take to work and open it up and no one would really even look twice at it. It's got a really just tasteful chrome Lenovo logo on here, and then it's got the Legion logo, which yes, has a light in it. So let's just imagine you got called to the conference room and a conference meeting, 5 minutes, you go in there. We've all seen that guy that everyone brings out their little netbooks and stuff and they're ready to do their work, and then it's just like, boom, he's got this big gaming laptop and he opens it up and it's just gaudy and flashy and it's just like, okay, nerd. The RGB on this would clearly get some attention. That's the thing I love about lighting. You can make it whatever you want, and then you can turn it off if you don't want it. And that's their integration with Corsair and iCUE. iCUE is what they're using to control this laptop's lighting. You have control over the different zones. So the zones here, we have the keyboard, we have the edge lighting underneath, vent lighting in the back, and then of course the Legion Y. So you can set up different lighting profiles based on your particular situation. So if you want the rainbow puke kind of going, there you go. We've got some color mix stuff we played with here where you can go in and choose the different zones you want to change the colors to. And then you can make it in business mode, which is what we set up here, which is nice subtle light for the keyboard. And then we only have the Y on the back illuminated and turned everything else off. That way you know to explain to the board meeting why your computer is doing that. I personally enjoy the teal, just a basic teal color, because I think teal looks really good with the gunmetal. Gunmetal and teal just go together. I think it's classy. Now in terms of specs, depending on the kind of work that you do, the specs are obviously gonna be very important. So this particular unit has an i7-10750H, which gives you 6 cores, 12 threads of over 4 gigahertz worth of turbo clock, 32 gigabytes of 2933 DDR4 memory, plus an NVIDIA RTX 2080 Super Max Q. So as you can see right there, in terms of performance, there is nothing that you could ask of this thing to do for work that it can't do. So that's why when you get through your work really quickly, whether you be at work or school, you can easily start gaming on it. Just put on some headphones, keep it quiet, make sure you're sitting in the back row, and just play. Not that I'm condoning that you waste anyone's time or be unfair with your time. The point is you could. But in terms of cooling though, that's a lot of hardware to ask a 4.96 pound, 15.6 inch laptop that is that thin, less than an inch, To cool, well, they get it achieved through what they call their Legion Cold Front 2.0 cooling system. So you can see the bottom of the laptop here is almost entirely a vent. It's like half a vent. And then it's got 2 fans in there that have 73 fins per fan. And they both are connected to a 4-pipe heat pipe system that includes vapor chambers touching all vital components, keeping them as cool as possible. They also have a sensor array in here, so the software knows exactly what's going on in the laptop. It knows the load of the CPU and the GPU. It can proactively start to ramp up the fans to keep the temperatures under control rather than reactively trying to speed the fans up once it's gotten too hot. But it also has what's their function plus Q set up on here, where your function key on the keyboard and Q will allow you to on the fly change the fan profile settings. Now you can go into the Lenovo software and set that, but you can also access it quickly on the profiles and switch between them by just function Q. This ventilation right here at the top of the keyboard where speakers would normally be found has been turned into an additional intake for those fans. So that's why we have downfiring speakers on the bottom so that we have extra intake for airflow and cooling at the top. I can tell you right now, I have spent a lot of time on this computer, and as long as you don't put it down on something soft, it's really not recommended for any laptop to be placed on a bed, a pillow, even your lap can plug up these vents. So since it does pull in air directly from the bottom, you want to make sure that it has adequate airflow. But it exhausts it out the side and out the rear. But in terms of gaming though, you can game on this for hours and hours without throttling, because that's part of the Max-Q design as well right there. NVIDIA is very involved in the way that the cooling is built to make sure that they meet all of the standards for the Max-Q design, but part of Max-Q's design is also acoustics. In terms of connectivity though, on the right side we've got our USB 3.0. On the back you've got a full-size HDMI, 2 10 gigabit USBs, plus a full-size RJ45, and the charger plug on the back. So one of the things I hate is when they put a charger port on the side. That's just dumb. I've seen companies put charger ports on the side and USB on the back. It's like, what sense is that? So the nice thing is you can have all the cables running out the back of the system, and then on the other side, talk about connectivity, you've got 2 USB-C as well as Thunderbolt. You can just dongle your life away if you'd like to with this. But you know, all of that's great, but you have to look at it. And if the panel sucks, well, it doesn't matter how good the hardware is. It doesn't matter how good the build quality is. It doesn't matter how pretty it is. If what you're literally staring at doesn't get the job done, well, then that's probably the biggest atrocity you could do. There are 3 panel options for the 7i. This particular option happens to be the 15.6-inch IPS 240 Hz, less than 1 millisecond, 100% sRGB HDR 400 panel. That's a lot of numbers. Anyone that speaks panel knows already, okay, 240 Hertz, amazing for esports, amazing for pretty much any gameplay. You know that the 2080 Super is going to be able to push frame rates up to that. It's 1080p, so 1080p for a 2080 Super Max-Q is not gonna break a sweat. So you're gonna get the 240 Hertz. But it also has a 144 Hertz G-Sync panel version that's also IPS. And then they also have a 100% Adobe RGB, which would be the perfect panel for those that are buying one specifically for content creation. And then they have another 144 Hertz sRGB 100%, and it just doesn't have G-Sync. But the nice thing about this particular panel being 240 Hertz and less than 1 millisecond response time means that Twitch type gaming where you're flicking the mouse real quick or you're doing FPS and stuff like that, you're not going to get any sort of screen tearing, and you're also not going to get smudging because the refresh rate is only half the story. The response time has to be able to keep up with the refresh rate, otherwise you get ghosting, and that is where the situation and the experience just falls apart. And I can tell you right now, we'll show you some gameplay later, this absolutely, positively gets the job done. Let's talk about the speakers though, because for me, that's where almost every single time the brands fall flat. They just forget about the speakers. I think there's just this assumption. Gamers are just gonna wear their headsets. And that's not always the case, because if you want a laptop that's best for both worlds, you're not gonna always have your headphones near you or on you, and sometimes you just don't want to wear them. So when I saw that there were 2 2-watt speakers, I was like, oh man, here we go again. Because I would have expected like 4-watt speakers or something like that. I know Dolby's name is on it, therefore there is some influence obviously, and a very well-respected sound company. Well, you guys be the judge. And yes, I'm well aware you're picking it up through a microphone, you're not hearing it with your ears, but just power supply cables, If you use a long power supply like the 1600 watt
it's
power supply,
reverbing in here.
It would not physically work in here simply because of the size of the. It's just insane. Okay, you want an idea of the volume? I'm speaking right now at the exact same volume I've been doing this video at, and I'm a loud talker. And I think you can hear, if you compare the audio of the music versus my talking level, just how loud, and now loudness, that's only half the story. Clarity is also really important. There is no EQ applied to this. We have not gone in here and tuned it. You can most certainly do that using third-party software, but the speakers, well, they definitely get the job done. But at the end of the day, it's a gaming laptop. So let's go and take you guys for a ride in the gaming performance. So this is Forza Horizon 4. I don't know if you guys notice how loud the audio is. Oh my goodness. So I just have a new profile here that we're going through some of the different weather stuff. You can see in the top right corner though, what the actual FPS is. We're at 135 FPS. It's so smooth though. Like it's consistent. The FPS is extremely consistent. And what's awesome is if you're not using headphones, like I'm not right now, you can't hear the fans because the speakers are loud. I can't emphasize enough how important good speakers are on a laptop. It's like 135 FPS constantly. I love it. Oh no! Ah! So Forza Horizon, the speakers are actually too loud. Let me go ahead and mute those real quick. Okay, so Forza Horizon 4 is actually not that hard for it to run because it is, after all, a very well optimized console port. So let's go ahead and try something a little bit harder now. We're gonna do some Doom Eternal, but we are really gonna push it as far as we can because we are doing nightmare settings. It's so loud. So we're getting 165, 170 FPS right now. 1080p nightmare settings. Dynamic resolution is not on. One thing to keep in mind though, this keyboard, the keys are slightly, okay, it's too loud. Something I've never heard myself say that in a laptop video. Yeah. Never. The keys are slightly smaller than normal. So the fan tone is pretty evenly spread across the audio spectrum there, which means it doesn't really stand out or seem intrusive in any way. Even with the volume right now about 50%, I can't really hear the fans, which is really kind of awesome. What happens if we go Nightmare to Ultra Nightmare? It's so smooth. It feels smoother than some desktops to me. All right, but you know what? There is one title out there that has been known to bring even super high-end gaming desktops to its knees. Of course, I'm talking about none other than Minecraft, but I'm talking about Minecraft RTX Beta. But let's just do the medieval RTX world. So one of the things I like to do to kind of demo the RTX, look at the way the lighting comes in. And the fact that we've now, in only a couple of years since ray tracing became more mainstream, have gotten to the point to where we're doing it on a laptop. Yeah, that's crazy. So here's a perfect opportunity to show you what the difference is between RTX on and RTX off. Here is what this church looks like with RTX on, and here's what it looks like with RTX off. It's really,
it's like a dungeon with it all.
Yeah, it's really boring. So as you can see, we are having absolutely no problems playing any game we want. Even something as hard as Minecraft RTX, and I know that probably sounds so weird to people. Minecraft's not hard to play. Try it, especially with RTX on. Now the final bit of this is I was monitoring the GPU temperatures to see exactly what was happening in terms of the temps. Max temperature it hit was 67 degrees Celsius. 67 on this guy. A 2080 Super Max Q in this 4.96 pound chassis only got to a high of 67. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. The last thing I wanted this to sound like is just any sort of a long infomercial, but I mean, I'm giving you information. That's how these videos work. If I sound really passionate about this and I sound really over the top, it's because I truly am. And whether they sponsored this or not, this is 100% my opinion here, is there's 4 major things I need in a laptop. It's gotta have a good screen. And we've already talked about that. It's gotta have good cooling, because what good is all the extra hardware in here if it just melts itself to death and starts throttling down to meet the lower spec anyway? It's got to look good. I'm superficial. I'm petty. You guys know this about me. It has to look good. And and my biggest complaint about gaming laptops has always been they're gaudy. They're ugly. And it's because the brands are trying to stand out in a crowd. And who cares? It just looks like something Lenovo would make. And if you know Lenovo in the business sense, in the business world, they are just clean. They're sleek, and that's what I love about this. You've got the flashy lights, which I already showed. You can just change. You don't have to have it RGB flashing. And the last thing for me is the sound. Man, was I worried when I saw the 2 watts. I was just like, oh, here we go again. We're gonna get like 95% of the way there, and we're gonna trip and fall at the finish line right as second place runs past you. That is just the story of my life when it comes to laptops. That's why I was so pleasantly surprised when Cortana scared the crap out of us when it turned on because of how loud it was. Hi, I'm Cortana! And it was like screaming across our office. This quite literally checks all the boxes. And this isn't one of those, I just took it out of the box and turned it on, I was like, let's make a video. I told you already, I have to use these laptops and then I communicate what I experience. And what I've told you right now is 100% been my experience with this. I love the fact that you can scale it up. You've got 4 CPU options, you've got 5 GPU options, you've got 3 panel options, and then you can scale it the storage and the memory on your needs. So you really can tailor it to fit your budget and your need. But at the end of the day, gaming laptops don't always make great general use or business laptops. And a lot of that's just because of the fact that they are just oftentimes big, bulky, and loud. But when you have what appears to be something that looks like it came from the business world, it's really a wolf in sheep's clothing, honestly. If it didn't have any lighting on at all, I would just think this was another Lenovo out of the business section. It checked every box for me, which is just the first time since I've been running this channel, have I had a laptop do that. I felt it was very important to share that with you, especially right now, as we've already talked about with all the work from home and learn from home. You can have a single unit do all of it. So again, I need to give a huge special thank you to Lenovo for sending me the Legion 7i. They knew right from the start, I'm picky when it comes to laptops. I truly am. I told them, I said, hey, if it doesn't do this for me, I'm gonna say so. And they were okay with that. I think it's because they truly had confidence in their own product and they knew what I was looking for and they were just like, please, love it. And I really do. So if you guys want to learn more about Lenovo Legion and the various laptops that they have to offer, because this is the 7i, they do have a 7i Slim, which is even smaller, or I should say thinner, it's the same size panel. Then check the description box down below. You guys will find a link where you can go and check out the gaming laptops that Lenovo Legion has to offer. So once again, thanks for watching, guys. If you have a comment about this laptop or just a general comment about what makes the perfect laptop for you, put it in the comments down below. And as always, we will see you in the next one.